I remember that night vividly. It was a warm summer evening, and I decided to take a bike ride around midnight. The quiet streets felt oddly serene under the pale glow of the streetlights. As my friend and I parted ways, I found myself with just 2 blocks left to reach my place. Navigating through the construction, I had to use the sidewalk, which wasn't an issue initially. However, as I approached the turn onto my street, I noticed a man walking ahead. I didn't want to startle him, so I politely called out, "Hey, behind you." But instead of a casual response, he turned abruptly, shooting me a fierce, angered glare. Feeling uncomfortable, I turned down my street, only to realize that he was following me, hurling threats and vile language in my direction. I had to act strategically, not wanting him to know where I lived, so I decided to loop around the block, hoping to evade him without revealing my home. The unsettling part came when I circled back and saw him standing on my front stoop, glaring out into the street. It was chilling how he seemed to know where I lived, without a word spoken. It felt like he had some uncanny insight into my movements, an unnerving realization that sent shivers down my spine. With a sense of unease, I chose to return to a friend's place, leaving my bike parked. A couple of days later, I discovered my bike missing from the alley by the house, an unfortunate end to a distressing sequence of events. Reflecting on the situation, I later learned that the area had a higher concentration of individuals dealing with mental health issues, which might have explained the man's unsettling behavior. I reached out to my mom, and we decided to hold off on notifying law enforcement until the bike theft occurred. It was a disconcerting experience, leaving me cautious and more aware of my surroundings during late-night rides. One summer evening during my teenage years, a friend and I decided to explore an intriguing abandoned property. I had often passed this place while heading home from work, and its allure was inescapable. I shared the mysterious discovery with a close friend, and with dusk settling in, we embarked on an adventure to uncover its secrets. The property loomed large and unfinished, an eerie sight that drew us in with an irresistible curiosity. Pulling into the front area, my headlights cast an uncertain light on the desolate structure. We barely had a moment to take in the surroundings before deciding it was time to head back to the main road. However, our seemingly innocent visit took a menacing turn. A truck suddenly appeared in our rearview mirror, its powerful headlights and unwavering pursuit raising our alarm. As we reached the intersection, the truck abruptly cut through the nearby gas station and blocked our path. I felt my heart pounding as a burly figure emerged from the vehicle and approached my window. In a mixture of anxiety and surprise, I rolled down the window to hear the questions hurled at us. The man inquired about our presence at the property, his presence casting an intimidating shadow. Swiftly, I concocted a tale, explaining that we had merely intended to make a U-turn. His gaze, initially intense, softened into an enigmatic smile. After a few disconcerting moments, he let us proceed, and we hastily made our exit. To this day, the abandoned property retains an air of mystery and suspicion in my mind. The encounter left an indelible impression, a reminder that sometimes our curiosity can lead to unexpected and even frightening situations. I remember this one time I was on a hot tub delivery job near Branson, Missouri, in this upscale gated community. The particular house was perched on a steep hill, the construction unfinished yet sprawled over 4 floors. I had to navigate the mammoth tub to the 4th floor balcony, although technically it was the ground floor due to the house's unique structure. The setting was a construction site in the making, but the issue arose when I realized the deck was incomplete. The deck had just enough flooring, leading from the living room to the exact corner where the hot tub was supposed to rest. But beyond that corner, it was wide open. No railings, no additional deck. I was about to maneuver a 900-pound tub across an unfinished deck, 4 stories above ground level. The construction workers volunteered to assist. After a collective effort, we managed to place the tub on the unfinished deck. The challenge came when the contractor suggested leaving the hot tub in its upright position. It was an unfamiliar and riskier maneuver to remove the tub from the dolly while standing it vertically. Still, I'd done similar procedures countless times. I explained to them the plan to remove the dolly, blocking one side, releasing the straps, and then tilting the tub back down. But the deck was too narrow for safety. As I attempted to execute the plan, I found myself with my feet precariously close to the deck's edge, struggling to balance the tub and maintain my footing. The situation was intense, with workers assisting me on each side, trying to free the dolly, and one worker securing the tub to prevent wind-related accidents. It all took a terrifying turn when one impatient worker kicked the tub, dislodging it from the dolly. I was off balance, falling backward with nothing but air behind me and boulders below. In a split second, I felt a sudden stop, a pull backward, and realized the worker had grabbed the strap I overlooked, inadvertently saving me from a 4-story drop. I was left shaken but immensely grateful for the miraculous save. In a gesture of gratitude, I redirected a planned surprise vacation for my family to the worker and his family, allowing them to enjoy a well-deserved trip to Breckenridge, Colorado. It remains one of the most intense moments I've ever faced, with an outcome that could have been tragically different without a simple twist of fate. I had an unexpected and profoundly intense experience not long after getting my CPR certification. It was an evening of browsing through costumes at a thrift store with friends, searching for Halloween outfits when suddenly, an alarming commotion echoed through the store. Someone rushed in, frantically stating that an individual was found unconscious in the parking lot. As they called 911, I realized this was my moment to apply the CPR skills I had recently learned. After informing my friends about my certification, I hurried outside to check on the situation. At first, the parking lot appeared empty, and then someone pointed out a car parked in a distant, isolated spot. Rushing over, the scene was jarring. A woman sat lifeless in the car, clearly in the grip of a heroin overdose. Her face was discolored. Her skin had that telltale blue tinge, and her eyes were clouded with the signature rings indicating the use of various substances. It was apparent that her condition was dire, but I had to act quickly. As we opened the car door, a surge of emotions hit me. Tears were streaming down her face, and in that moment, everything became even more surreal and urgent. With the help of others, we gently pulled her out and placed her on the ground, checking for any signs of life. As we began CPR, a sense of urgency filled the air, heightened by the sight of emergency services racing to the scene. The situation was devastating. The EMTs immediately sprang into action, working tirelessly to resuscitate her, and more emergency units arrived. All hands on deck, trying to save her life. In the midst of this chaos, as we opened the car door, a heartbreaking scene unfolded. The inside was littered with drug paraphernalia, heroin needles scattered amid empty pill bottles, a stark reminder of the struggle she was going through. Her youthfulness was striking, yet her circumstances painted a portrait of someone caught in the grasp of addiction. Moreover, her personal effects hinted at a life beyond this moment. Children, represented by toys in a car seat, and the inked names tattooed on her skin, each telling a story that wasn't immediately visible. The experience was an emotional roller coaster, a reminder of the harsh realities faced by many individuals struggling with addiction and the harrowing consequences that follow. It was a stark realization of how fragile life can be, with a flurry of emotions and memories that etched the day deep into my consciousness.